Shalom, y'all. We are starting. Welcome back to Adult Hebrew. Allow me a moment, please. Shalom, y'all. We are starting. Welcome back to Adult Hebrew. Allow me a moment, please. Shalom, y'all. We are starting. Welcome back to Adult Hebrew. Allow me a moment. Here we have what's called the final tzadi. The final tzadi is at the end of a word. Here we have what's called the final tzadi. You can see that the final tzadi has a tail. It's the tail that indicates the letter at the end of a word. You know, we have a number of final letters in Hebrew. We've already seen some of them. This word is eitz. Here's the final tzadi. This is eitz, kates, chates, rots, utz, nates. Let's review that. Eitz, kates, chates, rots, utz, nates. And on line number 2, we have the word eitz, a seam. Here's the regular tzadi, a seam. The final tzadi is this letter here, rots. Regular tzadi is here, ratsa. Lates, latesan, regular tzadi here. So line number 2, eitz, seam, rots, ratsa, lates, latesan. Line number 3, sates. That could be hard to pronounce. It takes a little bit of practice. Sates. Sa. This is the tzadi. This is the ayin. Sa. It is possible to be confused between the tzadi and the ayin. Sa. If you look at this letter, the ayin comes back up to here. Eitz. Sa. Back to line number 3. Retz. Feets. Ren. Sa. Final regular tzadi here. Sa. Ren, here's the final nun. It's got a tail below the line. So we're familiar with the final letters. And now we will move on to another page. Here we are again. Just a few more words to practice. And this actually is a photo I've taken from a workbook. You see some letters have been circled, but that should not bother you too much. Line number 1, eretz. Eretz. Eretz means land. We say Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel. Eretz means land of. You could say Eretz Sfarad, the land of Spain. Eretz America, the land of America. Eretz Yisrael is a very important term in Hebrew and in Jewish life. Eretz Yisrael, some people just say, I'm going to visit Eretz. or I'm going to visit Aretz, which is related to Eretz. It's land, it's the land. The land of Israel has been our center point of history since the time of Abraham and Sarah 3,800 years ago. So now you understand why people might use the term Eretz or Aretz as a bit of jargon for land, the land. Remember, in Hebrew, there is no such thing as capital lettering or lowercase for that matter. It's just one type of lettering. Eretz or Aretz, a sister word, would almost be the same as having something capitalized in Hebrew, land, the land. Eretz, chametz, forbidden foods not eaten on Passover. Matzah, regular tzadi, matzah. Chafetz, chafetz. Kayitz, kayitz. Kayitz is the Hebrew word for summertime. Ometz, ometz. Line number 2, coats, kotsim, regular tzadi, coats, kotsim. Boats, boats means mud. Sometimes it's used in a slightly different term and it refers to a swamp in a slightly different structure. Boats. Parats, parats. Kofetz, kofetz. Kofetzet, kofetzet. You should see the similarity and hear the similarity of kofetz and kofetzet. Kofetz is the verb jump. So kofetz literally means he is jumping. Kofetzet, she is jumping. In Hebrew modern grammar, when you speak of verbs, kofetz is indicative of a singular male, kofetzet, singular female. Line number 3, notzetz, that means sparkling, as in a star sparkles. Notzetz, so a feminine form would be notzetzet, paralleling kofetz and kofetzet. Notzetz. Lochetz. Lochetz means to squeeze. Again, feminine form would be lochetzet. Tzan is a paratrooper. Tzan. Atzitz, regular tzadi, final tzadi. Atzitz. Meats, that's juice. Apple juice, orange juice, tomato juice, meats. Nimtzatz, tzatz, nimtzatz. Line number 4. Emates, emtza, meretz, amitz, heitzitz, tziyain, tziyain. Line number 5. Leak foats, leak foats. That's to jump, as on line number 2, kofetz and kofetzet. Leak foats, to jump. Kfitza means a jump, as in if you took a jump somewhere. Kfitza. Kamatz, kamatz. Choletz, choletz. Cholem, cholem. Hayfetz, hayfetz. Line number 6. Rochetz, rochetz. Rachatza, rachatza, regular tzadi. Yoetz, yoetz. That's the ayin. Final tzadi, yoetz. Tziporen, tziporen. Ve'ematz, ve'ematz. Peretz, peretz. Line number 7. Lishabetz, lishabetz. Nitz tava, nitz tava. Vav in the middle with an a vowel. It's a v sound plus an ava. Nitztava, no dot, so it's not an U or an O. Nitztava. Melitz, Tzvaim, but we don't speak that slowly. We say Tzvaim, just as we don't speak slowly. We say slowly. Tzvaim, Tzvaim, Tzvaim becomes Tzvaim. Tzafon, Chametz, line 8. Eitz, Chaim, very important term. Eitz means a tree. Chaim means life. Eitz Chaim is tree of life. Of course, it's found in the early part of Bereshit in Genesis, the tree of life in the garden. And Eitz Chaim takes on significant Jewish symbolic meaning in a variety of contexts in Jewish tradition. Eitz Chaim, tree of life. Hamotzi, lechem, that's bread. Hamotzi lechem min, bringing forth bread out of haaretz, the land or the earth. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Many people are familiar with the blessing that we say before meals. Typically, a meal has bread, and we say a blessing that ends with the words Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, and we take a bite of bread, a sandwich, a dinner roll, whatever it might be. We're going to move on to another page. Pardon me. There we go. Here we have again the regular tzadi and the final tzadi. By now, regular tzadi and final tzadi are familiar to you. And we're on line number 1. And here we have the word eitz, chametz, eretz. Eretz means land. Line number 2, eitz chaim, tree of life. Eitz chaim he comes from a famous song prayer, a prayer which we sing during many synagogue services. It is a tree of life, referring to the Torah. The Torah scroll is called the tree of life. Borei, pri ha'etz. Borei, pri ha'etz. Many Jewish people are familiar with the tradition of reciting a blessing before eating foods. If you eat bread, you say Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. If you eat an apple or an orange or some cherries or walnuts, fruits or nuts which grow from trees, you often learn of people who say the blessing which ends with the words Borei pri ha'etz, God creates the fruit of the tree. Line number 3, Eretz, Eretz avotenu. Eretz means land. Eretz, land. Avotenu, the land of our fathers, the land of our ancestors. Artsenu is related to the word Eretz. Artsenu means our land. Artsenu, our land. Artsi is my land. Artsenu, our land. Artsi, my land. Ha'aratzot, ha'aratzot, the lands, the countries, you might say. Artsenu, Artsi, ha'aratzot. Eretz, Eretz avotenu, Artsenu, Artsi, ha'aratzot. We use the word Eretz in a variety of contexts, in a variety of ways. Line 4, Artsa. Artsa means going to the land. In the old days, it meant journeying via animal caravan, or perhaps in the ancient days on a ship, or traveling on your own private animal, a donkey, a camel, You could say walking, artsa. Artsa conveys the sense of motion and traveling to the land of Israel, artsa. And people speaking a mixture of Hebrew and English might say, Ani nosea artsa, I'm going artsa, I'm going to the land. Even in modern Hebrew English, playing around a little bit with languages, you'd say, when are you going artsa? Oh, I'm going artsa in a few months to visit my family. Artsa means going to the land of Israel. Artsa alinu, we've all traveled to the land. Artsa alinu, alinu. Line number 5. Bereshit bara Elohim. When God created 8 hashamayim, heavens, the 8 haaretz, and earth. When God created heaven and earth. Bereshit bara Elohim, 8 hashamayim, the 8 haaretz. Of course, first few lines of the book of Bereshit of Genesis. Line number 6. Lechem min haaretz, bread from the earth. Hamotzi, bringing forth. Lechem min haaretz. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, saying the blessing, bringing forth bread from the land itself. And line number 7, lechem means bread. Chametz umatzah, recited at the early part of the Passover Seder. Chametz is leavened bread, ordinary bread. Matzah is unleavened bread. Line numbers 8, 9, and 10. This is the blessing we say when we're going to be eating a piece of bread, a sandwich, a dinner roll, something to that effect. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, is it time to say the hamotzi? Hamotzi is kind of the nickname for this short prayer, which is just 10 words long. It's time to say hamotzi, it's time to say the hamotzi. You'll hear that in slang. And if you're inclined, you might incorporate this into your practice of eating a sandwich or bread at your meal. Again, the phrasing, lines 8, 9, 10, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Lines 11 and 12. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz. And the heavens and the earth were complete in Genesis chapter 2. And it also is found in the Friday evening home practice of reciting a prayer when we are drinking wine, declaring the importance of Shabbat, of Sabbath. Line 12. Ki sheishet yamim asa Hashem et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Ki sheishet yamim asa Hashem et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. For in 6 days God made the heavens and the earth. And you see the bottom of the page, this little asterisk. Tzadi is used at the beginning or in the middle of a word. Final tzadi is used only at the end of the word. We are concluding this lesson today. Looking forward to seeing your notes.